A good marketing strategy for any business, but especially an entrepreneur who's trying to break into their game, involves multiple channels. Social media is one of them. Email marketing is one of them. Digital marketing, content marketing. There's so many different options, but you absolutely 100% have to make sure that word of mouth marketing and networking is a channel that you use to market your business. But how do you get that done? Do you have an internal fear about networking, going to events, and just putting yourself out there and meeting people? I hear it all the time. But you got to get it together because networking will definitely yield results and income and revenue into your business beyond your wildest dreams. But how do you do it? Let's get to work. Hey there, my loves. Welcome back to CPTV. And today we are going to talk about a topic that is near and dear to my heart because in the world of business, it is not just what you know. It is also not just who you know. It is also about who knows you. And the best way to expand your breadth and who knows you and also who you know is to network. A huge piece of a good marketing strategy is all about making sure that you have included in-person marketing in that plan. And networking is the best way to do it. Now, oftentimes when you're thinking about networking, you're thinking about, going to events and being out in public and maybe having cocktails. But networking is a lot more than just going to a particular event that's designated as a networking event. Networking involves any time you're at something, whether it's an outside meeting or a party or even out with your friends, being able to flip that networking switch and use the opportunity to meet someone that can really excel and propel your business dream. So today, I'm going to walk you through what I believe are the 5 steps in mastering being a networking pro that I have employed in my business over the years that has definitely changed the game for the amount of referrals, the quality of the referrals, and ultimately the amount of money that's able to be made. So let's dive into the first step of how to network with style and grace. So first thing you have to do is to prep like a pro. Yes, networking isn't just about going out to events or going to board meetings or going to event meetings or going to your membership type of organization meetings. It's always about the fact that you need to be prepared in all of those instances. Now, if you're going to a networking event, it is a lot more specific around how you should prepare. But ultimately, you really need to kind of get your mind right around what you're going to do, setting a goal, who's going to be there. You need to know what is going to happen and know your stuff. So basically, there's a couple things. You want to know who is attending. So who is going to be present. If there is an agenda and you're at like a board meeting, you have to know which board members are going to be present. If it's a networking event, you want to know what the audience is going to contain and who ultimately is going to be there. You also want to know what's going to be taking place at this particular event so that you can plan appropriately around when is going to be the best time for you to get up and actually go out and meet some folks. So what's the agenda? And you also want to make sure that in your preparation and at all times that you have your elevator pitch polished and ready to go. Now, I know that most of you know what an elevator pitch is, right? Well, if you don't know, an elevator pitch is kind of like your 30-second commercial around what your business is and what you do. And now, oftentimes people will say, hi, I'm Cheryl. I'm the CEO of Cheryl C. Perez Enterprises, and we do this. But I will definitely make sure that you think about the fact that your elevator pitch not only needs to talk about kind of what you do, but how you do it and what's in it for the other person. So oftentimes I like to use my why statement as my elevator pitch. So at Cheryl C. Perez Enterprises, we empower entrepreneurs and nonprofit leaders at all phases of their entrepreneurial journey so that they can set up the structures, create the strategies, build the processes, and build the teams that will get them to a life of freedom. You see, it's a little different than me kind of running through a long laundry list of all the services and all the products that I provide in a business. And that elevator pitch, your why statement, will instantly help you connect with the other person, especially if they believe in the same thing that you believe in. So being prepared for your networking event and preparing like a pro involves knowing who's going to be there, knowing the agenda and what's going to be taking place, and then ultimately having your elevator pitch ready to go. Because remember, when you are networking, you are not just selling your business. You are showcasing your brand. You are letting people get to know you. You're getting to know other people, but most importantly, you want to make the moment count and you really want to bring it home. Now, step number 2 in effective networking and networking like a pro really is realizing that first impressions count. Yes, that means that you really want to dress to impress. I mean, you want to be looking your best. Your outfit should scream confidence. It should scream professionalism with a twist of your unique style and a little bit of your personality blended in and mixed in. Your smile has to be on point. Your smile is actually going to be your greatest impression. And it oftentimes, even in a situation when you're out and you're meeting, someone from the opposite sex or whatever, the smile is kind of that first indication to the other person that you are approachable and that it's okay to approach you. Now, a little pro tip here, if we're talking about like the opposite sex and romantic, relationships and stuff like that, if you don't want to be approached, then don't just go around smiling all willy-nilly. But at a networking event, smiling is going to be critical to your success, because if you make eye contact with someone and you smile, that is communicating to them, hey, I'm approachable, it's okay to come over to me, or making eye contact lets them know that you are getting ready to approach them to engage in a conversation. So having that smile is going to be very important, and wearing it proudly is a critical piece to being able to make that first impression. Aside from what you're wearing and aside from how you look, that's going to take you to the next level and help you walk away with some great contacts in your bag. Now, step number 3 is to be curious. Focus your attentions when you get to your networking event on asking questions. People love to talk about themselves. And the more you're engaged with letting them talk about themselves, the more interest that you show in getting to know them, the more information you'll have as to whether or not this is a contact that you want to have in your bag. Is this someone that you want to know? Is this someone that you need to know? Is this someone that could be a potential customer for you? Is this someone that could connect you with a potential customer? And the only way you'll be able to answer all of those questions is if you are continually being curious, asking questions, getting to know them, being really, really interested in what they have going on. You'll know a successful networking situation when you realize that you've done a lot less of the talking and a whole lot more of the listening. And the person that you're communicating with will really walk away in a great space feeling like, wow, I met this great person and they were really intuitive. They had great emotional intelligence. They were really interested in me, and it's someone that I want to continue to develop a relationship with. So you have to listen very actively and show genuine interest in what the other person is talking about. And it's not really about waiting your turn to speak when you're in those scenarios. So don't just be listening for like a time to like chime in and start talking about you. It's about creating a connection with that person that can open new doors for your business. The other person will eventually get to a point where they pick up on the fact that you're doing a whole lot more listening, and then they'll start asking you questions and being genuinely curious about what you have going on. And then that's your cue to talk a little bit more about what you do and what your goal is in the conversation. So being curious is critical to successful networking. Doing a lot more listening and less talking is extremely successful. And I have met some of the greatest mentors, advisors, customers, referrers in my life just by simply being extremely curious about what they have going on when I meet them for the very first time. Now, step number 4 in this process is realizing that quality is way more important than quantity. Yes, the goal of going to a networking event is not to get as many business cards as possible. That's not the goal. It's not about how many you collect. Its goal is to make sure that you have made quality connections, that you are meeting with people, and that the people that you're meeting is worth it, right? You want to be strategic in who you're talking to. So you can have an extremely good networking event if you leave a networking event with 1 or 2 business cards, but that during that event, you've made a true connection, future plans, follow-up plans, scheduled a coffee date, scheduled an assessment or a discovery call with that potential person. It's way more successful than just leaving a networking event with 25 cards and nothing to show for it. So the quality is so important. It's better to have 4 or 5 meaningful connections, meaningful conversations, and meaningful experiences than to speed date through the event without making any real connections. Going to an event, you want to see an ROI, especially if you've paid for the event and if you potentially make on average from a customer a couple $100 per customer and you pay 25 or $50 for an event, and you know that you have made a real meaningful connection and think that you're going to be able to convert someone as a customer out of your networking event, then the return on your investment in that $50 is tenfold. So remember, don't focus on getting a lot of business cards, right? Focus on the business cards and the people that you make that you actually get. I used to always make sure, and I still do, that when I go to a networking event, especially though I've identified the folks that are going to be there, that I set a goal. And I know that I can leave once I've achieved that goal. Now, my goal is usually to meet certain people. Like if I know that the owner of something, a client that I've been, looking at or prospecting or wanting to connect with or wanting to work with is at the event, I'll go to that event with the idea in mind of, hey, I have to make sure that no matter what, before I leave tonight, that I meet Jim. I know that Jim is probably going to be here and I got to make sure I meet Jim. So that's my goal. And I can leave once I meet Jim. Normally, I've met a couple more people beyond Jim, and this is a figment of a fake name. So if your name is Jim out there, don't be tripping. I ain't talking about you, okay? But once I've met Jim, I know, okay, I've accomplished my goal and I can go. So making sure that you've got that quality goal before you actually attend helps in this instance, because having a lot of business cards in your pocket that you'll never use or will never benefit you makes no sense at all. They kind of just become, like good toothpicks, in your future, and it don't really matter, right? So quantity don't really matter. Quality is the name of the game. Now, speaking of business cards, this is 100% a CP Impact pro tip. I used to spend thousands of dollars every single year on paper business cards, not just for me, but also for my team. And I never really could, connect the amount of money I was spending on business cards with a direct relationship to sales. And y'all know me. I'm all about being able to evaluate the data to make sure that what I'm spending my money on is a good value for my business. And I determined years ago that buying paper business cards and going through the whole design process and ordering them and having them on stock and all that kind of stuff just wasn't worth the money. So I actually upgraded my business card to an electronic business card, and I absolutely love it. My favorite is Popple, and Popple is my favorite. So Popple is my absolute favorite electronic business card, and it allows you to have pretty much in your wallet kind of a Popple card, and then when someone comes up to you and asks you for a card, they can scan it and it automatically opens up their contact information for them to be able to add you directly into their phone. The things that you can include in your Popple business card is like a profile or a description, all of your social media contacts, even any videos, your email address, details about you, links that you want them to access. It's absolutely amazing and will hold a lot more information than those traditional paper business cards. Once they've scanned you and saved you as a contact, a box automatically pops up for them to be able to then send you their contact information. So it'll ask for their name, their phone number, and their email, and then the system will automatically email you their information, but also store it in your Popple contacts. I have it also set up where my Popple will automatically send them in an automation, a follow-up email email. And that follow-up email says something like, it was so nice for me to meet you. I'm so excited, would love to continue to connect. And here's some information if you want to access more tips and tools. Here's my YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. But it's an automatic workflow that actually allows me to maximize my contacts, and they get an automatic follow-up. Now you can access your Popple, I should say, by grabbing the link below in the description and in the comments. And if you use my code Cheryl C. Perez when you register, you will get 20% off of your Popple electronic business cards. You would not believe what a conversation starter Popple has been for me, especially when people ask me for my card and I kind of pull out my phone, which is always on me, so I never have to go like digging for business cards. I never run out of them. I never say, I don't have any more, I'll give it for you later. Here, let's write this on a piece of paper. If you've ever been in that situation, you know how trifling that can be, okay? But ultimately, I get so many questions about what that card is and the fact that they have all of my detailed information in it. So Popple is an upgrade, y'all. It also shows your professionalism at a whole different level. It communicates something very different about your brand when someone sees you using an electronic or Popple type business card. And it is absolutely amazing for the next step that I am ultimately going to give you in moving through this networking like a pro. Now, if you like this and you are appreciating this content and figuring out how to network has been on your mind and I am helping you, please make sure that while you're down there grabbing that discount code to get your 20% off your electronic business card, y'all, and clicking that link down there, that you give me a like as well, and share this with anybody else that you may have been working on or working with that you feel really could use these tips around networking. It don't cost you nothing and definitely helps the channel grow. Now, step number 5 in networking like a pro is following up. Yes, the real magic, the real return on your investment, the real networking like a pro comes in the follow-up, all right? So you want to make sure, like I said, that you send a personalized email, or even finding them on LinkedIn and sending them a message within 24 to 48 hours. That's another reason why I love my Popple card, because like I said, once they send me their name and email and phone number, it will automatically send them a follow-up email within the hour. So I've definitely met the 24 to 48 hour rule, which I definitely recommend you do and go ahead and automate that, because that can be a whole thing. But you definitely, if you don't have a Popple card and you refuse to use the discount code that I gave you, you definitely want to send your own follow-up within 24 to 48 hours. And that follow-up should say something like, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. It was really cool meeting you. I enjoyed our conversation. I'd love to follow up or grab some coffee or jump on a quick call or a Zoom and further explore how we can work together, partner together, collaborate together, send each other referrals. Whatever it is that you have determined from that person is going to make a good fit for your relationship moving forward. But following up is absolutely key. It also shows that you were paying attention, and that you valued that connection. And there is no sense in going to a networking event or participating in any type of networking if you're not going to do something after the fact, right? It's just a waste of time. So this step is one of the most important steps in networking like a pro. So make sure that you've got your follow-up game plan in place. If you can automate it like I do, automate it, okay? But no matter how you do it, make sure that you just do it, because it's a game changer. 100%. So let's recap everything that I just told you so that you kind of have them fresh in your brain. Here's the steps to networking like a pro. Number 1, prepare like a pro. Number 2, realize that first impressions count. Dress to impress. Number 3, be genuinely curious and ask questions and listen. Number 4, focus on quality over quantity. And number 5, follow up immediately in order to maximize your experience in networking, get the referrals, get the stuff, get the connection, meet the potential customers, meet the collaborator, meet the partners of your dreams, and maximize the return on your investment in this networking event. So there you have it, my loves. Please, if you are having networking fears, networking questions, problems, or concerns, as always, leave it in the comments below. It has been amazing seeing you again, and until next time, bye-bye. Mwah!